Hello.
All right. Should
Are
be
we
live.
are we on? Are we on?
Yeah. All right. Go Game Go Show number
Go
4
Game.
with special guest Dave from Nintendokid.
Thanks so much for having me.
Hey, Dave, why don't you tell us about yourself and also your channel?
Yeah, sure. Let's kick off. Let's start by saying the channel itself is like 2 years, coming up in 2 years now. Pretty much been a Nintendo fan all my life. Pretty much born and raised with the NES. Even though I'm like born during the Super Nintendo years, I was brought up with the NES and pretty much went on from there, following Nintendo's course. And I've been out of gaming ever since I passed my master's degree, and I went on for professional work. Seeing that gaming didn't really have all that much space in my life anymore, and I moved to Asia. First India, then I moved on to China. And for some reason, when I was with my wife on a holiday in Macau, I ventured into this little store. It's like a Japanese import gaming store. And I saw that Famicom Mini standing there. And I just couldn't let it go. And I picked it up. I hooked it up that very same day to the TV in our hotel room. And I was just sold. I was right back into it. And it was a funny moment because my wife didn't really know about my passion for video games, also because it had been like cooled for some years. And the moment she saw me playing, she was like, "Man, you're just like a kid again." And I was looking at her, and she gave me this look. She said, "Yeah, like a Nintendo kid." And like a few months later, the Nintendo Switch hit the market. We bought the system. The Switch basically amped it up. I saw reviews all over the place, and at the time there was like drip feeding games. There were not all that many, and you could actually catch up on everything that was being released. And then it just occurred to me, I've always been pretty keen on writing essays or other forms of publications, anything of that sort. So I thought, what, I have a voice, I have an opinion, and I wasn't too happy with a lot of reviews I saw online, and I just started writing reviews at that time. And I set up the Nintendokid blog, still maintaining that for some written reviews. And just a few months later, my wife said, start a YouTube channel. And I looked at her, I was like, man, I'm not gonna put my face out there. I'm not gonna, plaster myself on the internet. It's just not gonna happen. And I think it was like 2 weeks later, the first video hit, and there were like 3 videos within the same week. And it's been pretty much exciting ever since. So
wow,
here we are.
And then, how did you do? You do a lot of great production in your shows, as far as your backgrounds and all the video stuff. What was your field of study that you did? Did it have anything to do with that?
In a distinct way. I mean, I'm an architect. I design buildings every day, and that's basically what I do. But during your architecture studies, you get to learn like a lot of software, or you choose not to. But I was always into software exploration and searching for ways to give shape or form to my ideas, and that happened to turn out to be a lot of software. And come my graduation project, I decided that the best way to show my project, the design I made, was through a movie, a documentary of sorts.
Yeah.
So I just dabbled around a bit in software like Premiere Pro, After Effects, all that stuff, and sort of fell in love with all that editing. I think that's really great to do. It's very time consuming.
Yeah.
But then, pretty much went on from there.
That's great. That's great.
How many videos do you do? Do you like one a week, or does it take longer than that?
I'd say it greatly depends on the subject. As I said, the first week of the channel, I had like 3 videos out. I was working on those videos till like 3 a.m., 4 a.m., then catch 2-3 hours of sleep. You know, it was kind of a rush. Go to work and then play games in the bus. I was like traveling 1 hour work, 1 hour back from work. So you have like 2 hours gaming there. Then you come home, you eat. Unfortunately, our little baby was already asleep by then. So back on the Nintendo Switch gaming, then record, edit. So it was all about that initially, just getting the channel started, and I was just too hyped to go about it. But now life is like settled in a little bit. My daughter is a little bit older, and she's coming up about 2.5 years now.
Wow.
I figured that there's little less time in the day for gaming, unfortunately. That said, there are also a lot of accessories, and that kind of stuff just needs, you know, being tested and to the test and review and all the stuff. So now it has come down to like one video every 2 weeks or so, which is quite less. But then again, the games are much bigger now. Like I started off with smaller indie titles, and now there's more and more AAA stuff coming through. That just takes more time. And with every video I try to like amp up the quality of editing a little bit, or try to put a little more background of those games that people might not be aware of. So
right.
Yeah, your last one, the Darius one, was great. The production values were tremendous, and I imagine that took a long time.
Thanks a lot.
There was a lot of games on there. I've got the physical.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. I only have the digital version, but
this is the
does
one.
It have like a?
I think it has Darius 2, Sagaya, and Darius Gaiden.
Wow, that's the arcade collection.
Arcade. See, on on PlayAsian, they're selling these.
Right.
I didn't really understand what they were. There was like two versions. There was this one, which was like a normal price game, and there was the other one that had everything, and it was like, I don't know what it was, like over $100. It was something crazy. I'm like, geez,
yeah,
nuts. So I just got this one because it was a regular one, and then when it was announced here, I saw it was divided between console and arcade, and I was like, all right, well, now I understand what was going on. I didn't really. They kind of built it. They kind of said it more like, you know, kind of like a budget version, and then get them all if you buy the one thing. Or I think here it's definitely divided into two.
Weird. That's weird. I mean, they're definitely high price. That's something I put it in my review as well. I think if you want to get both, it's like 95 euros or something, or $95, all the same. But yeah, it's a lot of money. But the games, they're really awesome. I love shmups. Played quite a lot of them, but then again, I never played a Darius game before this collection actually hit. Before I got those review codes, because the systems they're on, I somehow skipped or never had. Like I jumped from NES to Nintendo 64, but neither on the NES or the 64. They were on the Super Nintendo, right? But it's an amazing collection.
I don't know about Europe. I don't think Darius was very popular at all in the US. I can't remember even a game coming out. I guess they did, but I just don't remember them.
Being a graphic guy, I mean the graphics, the logo, that kind of stuff looks familiar to me, but I certainly never.
Well, you know, it's cool when I put this in, and I played the first Darius game because I wasn't aware of the arcade games, and I put it in, and on the screen, like the video thing, it's really long. And not very tall. And so I was like,
triple screen, yeah.
Yeah, so I was trying. So I looked it up, and I saw the arcade, and there was 3 screens connected. I was like, oh,
yeah, that is pretty unique.
That had to be incredible to play in an actual arcade at the time.
Yeah, because they had the mirrors and everything that you were talking about, right?
Sorry, again?
In the machine, in the actual machine, they had the mirrors that reflected the multi-screens across.
Right. So you had this middle screen was at the top, and you had the other 2 screens were at the bottom, and there was that mirror which made it possible to have those 3 monitors lined up without any of those edges of those actual monitors. That was extremely clever, but at the same time, I must assume it was super expensive to manufacture and put those cabinets out.
Right.
Oh, I bet.
Wow.
But it's a testament to how much quality they've put in those games and how unique they want it to be. It's praiseworthy, and I think that kind of stuff, to develop those kind of cabinets and to have that kind of a profile for your company, and then move on to that double screen arcade cabinet. I think that sort of justifies what they're trying to do on Switch here. But you're right, it didn't really become all that popular in either in Europe as it was, of course, in Japan. Probably has a lot to do with it being based mostly on Japanese consoles as well.
So you said the Famicom Mini is what got you back in the games?
Yeah, it's standing over there. It's just a lovely system.
So in Europe, is that what they had in Europe? Was the Famicom?
Sorry?
The Famicom is what they had in Europe back in the 80s?
No, we had the NES.
NES, okay.
Yeah, so that's the system I grew up with. And I was too young to actually choose my games as such. I must have been like 5 or 6 years old, something like that, when we had the NES. And thing was that my cousin bought the Super Nintendo at the time. It just hit the market, so like they passed on the system to us, and so it came with a set games. There was the Duck Hunt with Super Mario Brothers and Ninja Gaiden and that sort of stuff. So I was pretty set on those games. For the love of me, I can't remember how many games we had, maybe like 15 games or so, but I played them over and over. Most of them were too tough to actually finish, like Ninja Gaiden. And then one day a Nintendo 64 hit the market, and I was still like too young to actually know what was going on. But all of a sudden we had a Nintendo 64 in the house, and it was like mind-boggling from the NES to 64. And during those years, I actually became aware of like what you're actually buying out there, and then I started to actually choose my game. So I missed out on a lot of high quality games back on the NES. And now that I've finally committed to starting a Famicom collection, it's overwhelming, the quality of games and the sheer number of games that were actually out there at the time.
Yeah, because it's my understanding, isn't that's basically what they had in Japan. That was their kind of their Nintendo in Japan.
Yeah. So to put it short, the Famicom was the Japanese NES. That said, it was there first. So they had the Famicom, and once that became a thing, they actually redesigned the whole thing for both the US and Europe, and branded it as the Nintendo Entertainment System, or NES.
Yeah. So I'm curious, if you grew up with an NES, how come you're collecting Famicom?
Yeah, that's I think it's a logical choice, to be honest, because the Famicom I feel has a lot of advantages over the NES. For one, I mean, you guys are graphical guys, and you might not fully agree, but I feel that the original Famicom just looks way cooler than the NES. Maybe that's also to do with the fact that I'm, of course, familiar with the NES, and the Famicom was like a new thing for me. So that's one. And second, I'm a guy who's very much interested in history. And since like 90% of the games out there for the NES were there first on the Famicom, like that is where the stuff originated from. It's mainly Japanese stuff. And that said, if you just look at the library of games, the NES has like 700 something officially licensed games, and the NES has almost double the amount. So I just felt if I have to commit to one system, then I'd go for a system that is most intriguing to me. And in that, one of the things that actually pushed me over was that Famicom Disk System. That's like an expansion of the original Famicom, and that just like blew my mind. Yeah, that's the thing.
It's something we didn't get at all here.
Exactly. It was planned to, though, but they never pushed it through.
There's so many parts to it as well. I mean, there's the drive system below, which saves your games. There's the unit itself on top. Then there was the third unit that plugs into the top of the white and red unit.
Right.
You showed me that, Dave. It's like a black cartridge or something that plugs into the Famicom from the
right. Like let me just rotate the screen. I have the Famicom set up here. So the thing is that the original Famicom came with the attached controllers. They're relatively short, like 1 meter or so. So you sit pretty close to the screen. And the thing is that it only has that RF channel output, so it's not all that good. So I spoke with my friend who's been a video game collector for a long time, and like asked his advice. Like, what is the best Famicom system to collect? And I happened to pick up the AV Famicom. So during the time of the release of the Super Famicom, they just re-released the Famicom, but with output. So that is this system. That is the AV Famicom. So it has a much higher quality output, and the design is really different. Just like the original one, but just sleeker.
Yeah.
Benefit of your controllers being removable. So you have these kind of controllers that are these AV designed Famicom controllers. But at the same time, you can also just plug in your NES controller. So the NES Advantage, for example, is amazing. I can use that with it as well. And then you have that disc to connect this thing, which is called a RAM adapter. That's that black thing that you see on top.
Yeah.
Right. So what it does, so it transfers the data from the disk system to the RAM adapter, which you then insert in the Famicom. So it's like a go-between between the actual disk and the system.
Wow. Okay. And then later on, they produced a larger system that it plugged into it as well, right? They had an actual. It was a larger black. It said Famicom on it.
That larger black one is actually a network unit, so it's like a precursor to the internet.
Ah, wow.
So that was an entirely different thing. But the thing is that this system was such a promising venture during those times. It happened to hit the market for numerous reasons, but the biggest being that the difference between, say, a Famicom cartridge, like this is a standard sized cartridge, and this is a standard sized disc. So it's a completely different medium format, right? This is a cartridge which has a board like that, and the disc is actually has this round. Right, so it's basically a floppy disk, redesigned floppy disk with that Nintendo branding, which is like a key mechanism in there. So the thing is that the cartridges at the time were fairly expensive to manufacture, and it took a lot of time to write games to them. And the data you could actually put on those was quite limited. So Nintendo was looking for a way to go about being able to create bigger games, like most notably the Legend of Zelda games.
Right.
And these discs, they can contain up to like 8 times the size of a cartridge. Added to that RAM adapter actually allows for an additional audio channel. So you're a music guy, if you're like going into Famicom, then those games will have a much better quality of sound and music in general.
Sweet.
And there are other advantages, but the biggest thing was that it reduced costs a lot. Like these games, you could pick up a disc like this and drop it off at the kiosk, and they could actually write a new game to these discs. for like 1/5 of the price.
Yeah. And then sometimes you could even get 2 games on one. You could get, if the game is small enough and not involved enough, you could get a game on either side.
Right. So I've picked up this one. This is volleyball. It's a very basic game, but it's a Nintendo first party game. I just wanted to be able to play that. And you see at the back side, it's only written to side A. That means side B is blank. You can write a different game to it.
Yeah.
Cool.
And when I bought it, I was like genuinely surprised. It has Xanac written to the other side. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the game.
No.
Is that a shooter?
Yes, it's a shmup. It's I find it to be probably the best shoot 'em up in the NES or Famicom library. Like, I was a big fan of Gradius, still am, but Xanac just blew my mind. It was amazing.
So you bought the volleyball game, and there was another game on the other side you didn't even know about.
Correct.
That's great.
Bonus.
Nice old
That
bonus.
was
We
that was
gamers
perfect.
hate that. You mean another game? I get another game accidentally? Okay, sure, why not?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
because
you
I
have-
was looking at the
you have
list of
top
games.
loader?
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. You have the top loader NES.
Yes, the
So
AV. Yeah.
Is that actually a Famicom?
Yes, there's also AV and NES, I believe it's called. A different design top loader NES, but the design is slightly different if you look it up.
Yeah, we have that in the U.S. It's just really hard to. They're really hard to find and very expensive.
Yeah, these are not too cheap either. But I happened to run into this amazing seller. I have to say that much. Like, I bought this set, the AV Famicom plus the disk system plus that RAM adapter, and then when I was finished cleaning, I hooked it up. I popped into the first game, but it was not like going in all the way. So when I looked inside, there was actually like this very tiny ball stuck in the pin connector, which I just couldn't get out. And then eventually, when it popped out, like one of those pins was pushed out, and he was like, "Hey man, no problem. I'll just send you a new Famicom and just replace just like that." Yeah, magic.
Very cool. Do you have the original Famicom, the red and gold one? Or red?
Just a mini.
The mini looks like it, right?
Yeah, the mini is a reproduction of that one.
Now on the mini,
That's how the original hardwire controllers.
okay, on the mini it's hardwired too.
Oh, the mini just needs HDMI and micro USB. That's all.
The controllers aren't hardwired in that one.
Yes.
Okay.
In that way, it's a very faithful reproduction.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive, the games that are on there.
Yeah, the library, it's actually pretty good. I mean, they definitely could have added some other games to it, but
Right.
it's pretty good. Yeah.
They have.
Was that a Tyco drum controller back there behind you?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
one of them.
Yeah, I've got one.
That's
Right.
not the. Yeah, this is not the officially licensed though.
I've got the Hori version over here.
Ah, nice with the little buttons on them.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Stuart, it's a rhythm game. It's a music game, and
Yeah.
you use the drum. They get you the sticks, and you tap to the
Oh, really?
yeah. Or you can actually just use your Joy-Cons and do like this.
Yeah, just like with the jump rope game.
Yes, but it's pretty fun pounding that drum though.
Now, are you an Animal Crossing person, Dave?
Last Animal Crossing game I really enjoyed was, I think, on the Nintendo Wii, but those are the kind of games that actually take up way too much of my time.
They do.
Yes.
Yeah, they do. I didn't pick it up this time around, mainly because I'd say 90% of the time I play on the Switch is for reviews.
Yeah.
So I don't have all that much time to actually enjoy a game that I will actually buy. So
Right.
I didn't. Yeah. In fact, just a few days ago, I received a shipment of Famicom cards, 14 RPGs that I was really looking forward to. Like what I said, those are the kind of games I kind of missed out on. So the entire Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest and Famicom Jump and all that stuff. But there's this one game I started playing it yesterday. It's called Ease. Actually, this is the short name of it, and this is you guys. Ease, yeah, this is the first one. Ease 1. You guys are TurboGrafx guys, right?
Yeah, 1 and 2 were on TurboGrafx.
Right. So I looked up the version differences of Ease because it's been released on pretty much every system back in the day and re-released on Windows and all that sort of stuff. And I saw that intro of Ease 1 on the TurboGrafx or PC Engine. It's amazing the kind of quality they actually managed to put out on that system.
Yeah.
Did you guys happen to what's that?
You guys happen to have it?
Of the Ease?
Yeah.
I don't have the game.
No. I just have the system.
It's on. Here's the mini. It's on here.
It is on 1 and 2 probably then, no?
Yeah, I think it's actually here in English and Japanese.
Wow.
For the mini, they put a bunch of Japanese games on here as well. Actually, there's more Japanese than English games. And some of them cross over. So there's some games that are on here twice for some reason. It's kind of odd. I don't know why. But yeah, it's that game. It's really interesting when you play because when you run around, you just run into people to like attack.
Yeah.
Like
when I was
button or hitting the 1 button to hit them, you just run into them.
Yeah. In fact, when I read about the game, when I read about it before ordering, I was like, that must be weird. But since the game is so heavy and grinding, I think it's a genius move to do. Really, I mean, I've been playing a lot of these RPGs that are like turn-based, or this one you might not have heard about, Esper Dream. It's also one of those disk system games from Konami that never made it to the West, unfortunately. It's an amazing game, but that's like real-time combat. But indeed, in Ease, you just bump into people, though under the correct angle. But it really helps in grinding quickly without becoming annoying or anything. It actually is quite fun to do.
Wow.
So how do you do the RPGs on the Famicom? Do you read Japanese?
No, it actually depends a lot on what kind of RPG you have. Like for example, Esper Dream, it has some Japanese text, but really you don't really need to know any Japanese in order to play the game if you've ever played RPGs before. And if you look at a game like Ease, it's pretty doable without knowing Japanese as well. But then there are the games like, I have this card here of Juve Quest. It's a little bigger cartridge from Namco. This one has all these items that you require to find, but then you also have to manually select the item to present to whoever you need to give it to. So that's kind of a thing. So for those things, I just look up a walkthrough and just skip to those kind of parts that I need help with, and that way I think you can go through it. But the most amazing thing that pretty much blew my mind was that the mechanics of RPGs from back in the 80s, for 90%, if not 95%, they're still in play in modern day RPGs. Like, it's the same formula with different graphics, different music. It's just mind-boggling to think that they actually had thought it through that much back 30, 40 years ago, that it's that good that it's still the standard. But it definitely helps in just playing through these Japanese games without having to know the language.
I imagine there's way more RPGs in the Famicom than the NES.
Yeah, quite so.
A ton more.
Yeah, quite so. And the thing is that the NES, of course, the cartridges had or still have batteries for your save games. The Famicom, the first generation Famicom cards didn't have that. So you have those annoying passwords if you want to continue. Discs they actually managed to change that around. So the RPGs on discs, I find them much more say logically built than the cards.
Well, I think also the original Famicom, you could put in, what is it, 8, or was it 6 or 8 or more C batteries, and run it off of C batteries.
Not the Famicom, not sure. I mean, the disk system, definitely you can power with batteries, because at the time people didn't have all that much available sockets.
Yeah. So that was
Famicom,
pretty wild. It was, the disk system. That's what I should have said. The bottom disk system, you could open it up and it took C batteries.
Yeah, these gigantic. I believe 8 of them indeed. Yeah, but I just have this power plug that has a split, so I don't have that step down converter and all. Don't need it because of this power plug that's been customized.
So does the disk system power the Famicom?
No, it needs its own power source. Hence, they actually give the option for batteries as well.
Yeah.
But since all these systems are powered with 100 volts, I just can't put it in here and hope it works. So I ordered a third-party adapter to make it all happen.
So classically, what were some of your favorite games for the NES system when you were playing that?
I'd say one of my favorite games back then, but still, is Ninja Gaiden. The game is just amazing, and it's on the Famicom Mini, and because
it is, I noticed that.
Yeah. It has save states, and because of that, I just almost finished the game finally.
I was going to ask you if you finished it. I have not.
Almost.
That's frustrating.
Yeah, it's amazingly frustrating, but somehow it's just magical. Keep going back to it.
Yeah.
I have fond memories of playing Chip and Dale with my brother together.
I still have that one.
Yeah, that was an amazing game.
It's one of the really good Disney games back then.
Yeah.
Yeah, they even had a Disney World trivia game that you could play.
Really?
Yeah.
On NES?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it was Disney World. I don't know. Maybe I'd almost walk away from you guys and go and see, but if I'd have known I was going to say that, I'll have to double check, because like Chip and Dale's, I have that in the box and all that stuff.
Right. I actually looked that one up for Famicom too, but it's quite pricey. So that one is somewhere on the wish list for someday to pick up. But I just wanted to circle back to one thing that I happened to run into recently whilst reading up on the Famicom disk and of course the PC Engine. PC Engine has been a system of interest for some time, but especially during the Darius review, it just blew me pretty much out of the water to see the kind of quality they put out on that system. Was that when Nintendo was thinking over how to structure this Famicom disk system, they were in the process of developing the system. It was actually Hudson who pitched the idea of using kind of card-based games rather than a cartridge. And Nintendo was interested, but as they did with Sony, as they did with Philips, in the end they kind of showed them the door and they went on to do their own thing. It was actually when Hudson approached NEC and they went on to develop the PC Engine.
Right.
Nintendo has this history of creating their own rivals. I knew that, of course, from the CDI and the PlayStation, but I didn't know that the PC Engine was so closely linked to what I just purchased as the Famicom disk system. I thought it was pretty funny.
That's when you're confident. You just create your own enemies to fight.
Yeah, they are. They definitely are. Yeah.
Did you? Speaking of PC Engine, I bought back when it was originally out Street Fighter 2 for PC Engine. I don't know if you've ever seen it.
No, I haven't.
But it's on a Hue card. But what's cool is it's an amazing version. It's every bit as good as the Genesis or Super Nintendo version. Some ways it might even be better graphically.
I believe there were 2 versions, right?
I think TurboGrafx only got, or PC Engine only got the one. I think it was Championship Edition is the one they got.
Right.
But it was all on one of those hue cards.
Right.
How it looked just as good as the other versions, and it was an amazing conversion because TurboGrafx was, I think, slightly behind like Super Nintendo graphically. It was a little bit older, but that version was amazing.
Technically, it's an 8-bit system, right? It's not a genuine 16-bit system.
16, right.
Yeah, I don't know. I've always been confused about that. I think it's an 8-bit, yet somehow it's looks better than NES.
Right.
It was kind of beefed up somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Boy, wow. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure how, but yeah, it's somewhere between an NES and a Super Nintendo.
Right.
Power. But I always loved it because of the little chips, the little cards.
Exactly. And that's the thing that attracted me to the disc system too. Because
I ended up getting a TurboGrafx Express, the handhelds. Have you seen that?
No.
It was a handheld TurboGrafx.
What was the original TurboGrafx handheld called?
Well, that was it.
That was what it was called?
Turbo Express.
Okay. Yeah, all right. Yeah, all right. I'll buy that. I mean, I just saw a thing on it the other day, and I was like, that doesn't sound right.
So this is what it was. It was a handheld.
That's not it. That's not what I'm thinking about, but I do remember that.
This is the only one that I know of.
Okay. Let me look it up.
Is this around the time of the original Game Boy?
Yes.
Yes.
It came out, I think, slightly after. Right around the same time, though. But
it is a color screen, though.
It's a color screen. And the best part was you just took your TurboGrafx games and you plugged them into this. So you were literally playing the same console games on your handheld. They didn't have separate games for it. They played the exact same games. And a sign of the times. It even had
But did it
TV tuner.
Anyway over in the West?
What's that?
Did it happen to be popular in the West?
No, not at all. I mean, TurboGrafx wasn't even popular here. It was a far third place behind Genesis and Super Nintendo. And this was even less popular because Game Boy was what, $100 maybe. I think when this first came out, it was $300. I mean, it's awesome because it plays the exact same games. It would be like being able to somehow take a Super Nintendo game and plug it into a portable and keep playing.
Yeah,
that's what
it was originally released in 1990 for $250, and then briefly raised to $300 basically, and it dropped back down.
Wait, they raised the price?
They raised the price.
Yeah, that's part of the problem.
They raised it $50 and then dropped it back down $50, and by 92 it was $199.
What a great strategy. You're not buying it at $250. How about at $300? Yeah, I got this when they were clearing them out at Toys R Us a few years after that. I think I ended up paying $100 because they were clearing it out. It was probably around 94 or so.
Wow,
but it's great. I still have it. I've always got them. I mean, it's a battery hog too. The screen's not great, but it's so far ahead of its time. I mean, to play the actual TurboGrafx games, I thought was just an awesome idea. Might as well get to the size because they're so small.
How much battery time does it give you, though?
I don't remember.
Do you have a plug for it?
Yeah, you can just plug it into the wall.
Right. Okay.
I'm trying to see. It says about 3 hours for 6 AA batteries.
Wow.
And
yeah, wow, indeed. Somebody's got one for $275.
Oh yeah, they're expensive now.
Thank God, still not $299.
I just love that story. They raised the price. How bizarre is it?
I still like how you say that. You're not buying it at $250? How about $300? I'll see your
premium at that price.
I'll raise you to $300.
So
Still
Dave,
not going to buy it?
Dave, do you have a PC Engine?
No, unfortunately, I don't.
Now, that I tell you, you'll love it because especially PC Engines, because PC Engine was very popular in Japan, and then the TurboGrafx here just wasn't popular at all, and we only got a small portion of the games. So PC Engine has just a ton of games out there, especially shooters. If you like, I know you said you like shooters. If you like vertical shooters and even horizontal ones, there's just a bunch on PC Engine.
Right. But the thing I'm wondering though, see, Nintendo really limited the output of publishers back in the day on the NES, right? Like 5 games a year they were allowed to put out. And if you look at a company like, say, Konami in '87, they released like 21 games for the Famicom, like insane amount.
Really?
Yeah, 21 games in both cartridge and disc system. That's like a tremendous amount. So immediately you miss out on 16 games in the West, which probably never make it out.
Well, those companies had to create like fake companies so this it could release more.
Correct.
Konami would go under different names, and I'm trying to think, were they the ones that used Ultra as the name? I can't remember, but yeah, they would have different names so they could just pump out more games. I don't know how to make 21 games in a year. It's crazy.
I don't know, but a lot of stuff is like really high grade quality games they put out. Not every game, but some really really good games. I think this one is also from that year, that Asper Dream. I believe so. This one, and there's this one. I sent you Nicole. You should definitely check that one out.
That Asper Dream, is that spelled ES period? Is there a period between the S and the P?
No, it's just Asper.
Okay, because there's a shooter called was it Esperade, or and it's spelled where it's like ES dot and it continues. I think it's a cave shooter.
I don't know, but during the time Asper Dream, there were a lot of games based on Aspers. People with heightened perceptions of stuff or qualities. It was a popular thing back in the day. But yeah, thing is that it's logical why the West did receive so less of Japanese stuff. Like you have a lot of people complain, like we missed out on this. Why did they never made an effort to port it? But actually, that's if you dig in, you find pretty reasonable situations as to why that never happened. But then I'm wondering, the PC Engine, NEC and Hudson didn't have any such regulations they put down on there, right? So how is it that those games never really made it to the West? Is it just because the TurboGrafx never really head off?
I don't know. I think it may have been something with maybe the US version of Hudson. Maybe they didn't have much faith in it. I don't know why they didn't bring over more games, because part of the reason it wasn't popular was there just wasn't enough games.
Sure.
So it just seems logical you would bring over more games, especially stuff like shooters that it's not like you're translating anything.
And during that time, arcades were really a thing in the US, right?
Yeah, they were popular back then in the 80s.
Oh yeah, I played the crap out of them.
I never really hang out in arcades. I don't think it's a big scene over here either. But the thing is that especially the PC Engine had a lot of games ported from arcade hits, right?
Yeah.
So it only made sense to actually bring that to the States. As arcade was just a big thing.
Here, Dave. Here's the game I was talking about. Esperade. And it's the same thing with the ESP. They were using that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was popular during that time.
And this is on the Switch right now. It's an old arcade game, but it came to the Switch.
Cool. I should check it out.
Yeah, me too. Oh, hey, Dave, one thing before I forget to say it, thank you for your review on Missile Command.
Oh, you're welcome.
For a $3 deal, I loved it. I was like, oh, how much is this? I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of cheap, so I don't buy everything and whatnot. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to see what Missile Command is, and I'm like, oh, $2.99. Yeah, and you're right.
I was
really
genuinely surprised.
Yeah, me too. Graphics were cool. The gameplay's great, especially like you said with the handheld, where you can just tap on the screen, and
Right.
that's great.
It increases the speed so much, like you're much more capable. But I remember reviewing a game. Just can't think of the title right now. It's a very popular game. It's sort of a duck hunt game. I'll just look up the title in a moment. But there they actually made a distinction whether you play with controls, standard controls, or the touchscreen. Like it has two different leaderboards because obviously with your touchscreen you're much faster.
Right.
So there they actually have a distinction, and even in game, if you started with controls and then you happen to switch to touchscreen, it like immediately recognizes and it jumps to a different leaderboard. It's actually smart, but with Missile Command they didn't do that.
That's on the Switch. This game you're just talking about.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
Let me just have a quick look at the title.
Have you Jeff? Have you gotten Missile Command?
Yeah, I got it when it came out because I saw it and I didn't know this version was coming out.
Yeah,
and so I was like $3. I was like,
it's
got leaderboards. I was like, what the heck? I'll try. I also think it's cool that each of the like guns were set to Y, B, and A. So if you wanted to shoot from the left, right, or center, it did. Let's see. Which game are we looking at?
That Moorhunt Wanted. You see that? Oh, going wrong way. That game.
Yeah, the one you have highlighted.
Right. That publisher has a few games based on that character, that Moorhunt series. They're pretty cheap games. They're all based on duck hunt, but they're addictive. They're pretty fun.
I'll have to look that up. So I like shooting games like that.
How do you spell that?
MOO, or it's a German spelling, I believe. Check. It's German developer too. MOORHUHN.
Yeah, there you go.
You find a few games from them.
Yeah, Wanted. They got it's 20% off right now. It's $5.59.
Well, they could do better. They have had better offers. You could wait.
Endless Fables. Knights and Castles.
Yeah. So the thing with that Atari Missile Command is, I first of all I didn't see it coming. Like I reviewed the Atari Flashback collection for Nintendo Switch. I thought that was an amazing collection, just presentation-wise alone. And once more, I was not really in the arcade, so I missed out on the entire Missile Command. And personally, never owned an Atari. I played on Atari once or twice. So I've never really been in that history of Missile Command. But then when we were still living in China, there was this event, Game On, it was called. It's like a traveling museum, sort of.
Wow.
Dedicated to video game history. And that was the original Missile Command arcade. So that was pretty cool to be able to play that in like 2019 for the first time ever.
Because the arcade game has which completely it. The arcade's got the trackball, so the controls are so much different.
Right. So I thought it was really cool. I never played such a control scheme before. And then seeing it on Switch was pretty good, and the home console ports, of course, the 2600, those were pretty good. But I believe this Recharged, I believe it's called Missile Command Recharged.
Yeah,
that was actually might even be better. Yeah.
I really like that Atari collection you mentioned. I picked that up. That was really hard to find in the U.S.
Physically.
Yeah, physically, it took me a while to find it. I think there was one GameStop here in St. Louis that had it, and it was middle of winter, and it was really bad out, and I was like, God, I'm just gonna go get it because it's like this is the only copy left in town. But you know what I like on that is the arcade game. I think it's Black Widow. It's a Black Widow. You play on a web, and you're a spider, and you're shooting stuff on there.
Right.
Wait, is that the name of it? Black Widow? I think it's that.
I think, what was it? It's just about 100 something games in that collection or so. I don't quite remember the exact number.
Oh yeah, there was a bunch of them. See
yeah,
here,
there's way too many. Black Widow, yeah.
Like this one here. Yeah, you're. It's kind of like Tempest in a way, where you.
That's what I was thinking.
You spin around on the web. When you move, you go. You stay connected to these lines on the web, so you can go around. You can go back and forth. And you're just going around shooting stuff that's coming at you, and it's a really fun game.
Wow.
That would be nice to be redone.
So
Yeah,
then
well,
nicely
I think it all depends on what happens to this missile command recharge. If it hits off, then they might, But then again, Atari has been quite the company lately.
Yeah, I saw that the Atari VCS, their new system.
Yeah.
I was looking at I don't know if it was on Instagram, one of the pages. They showed like a pallet of boxes, and they said it was the actual console ready to go. So I don't know. We'll see. I think they're about a year late on their ship date, but they claim they have them built now and they're ready to ship to the original backers. So we'll see if it comes out. I'm not really even sure what it is, to be honest.
I think no one really knows what it is, or if it will ever hit the market. I'm not burning my hands on that one. I have a good understanding with Atari, but
as much as I love Atari, even I didn't back that because I was like, I don't even know what this is. I don't understand it.
Right.
It's like $300, and I don't even know what it. Yeah, it's like, is it a
toaster
Android system? I mean, I don't know. I don't get what they're doing. I think it's kind of odd
genuinely hope
out on other systems too when they have their own system coming out. You think they?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't get what they're doing.
It's weird. I just genuinely hope that the system will actually get in the hands of those people who actually put their money into it and backed it.
Oh yeah, that'd be awesome. I mean, it looks like they claim they have them built and they're going to start shipping them out. So we'll see. I would think we'd start hearing from people hopefully in July. If they get them or not.
I know. I think the last time I heard about this system, I think it was the guy over at Spawnwave or Newswave Media. I think he was.
Yeah, he pre-ordered
one. Sorry?
He pre-ordered one.
Yeah, I think he's one of the backers, right? But he mentioned that the system was ready to go and will be shipped out. But that was months ago, I believe, that I heard him say that.
I know at one point they said they're going to have it at the end of 2019. Of course, that's long gone.
Right.
And they've had all kind of problems. The main designer of the system sued them because they stopped paying him, I guess, for a few months. Yeah. So, like, if you can't even pay that guy, I mean, I don't know what's going on over there.
Right.
Something's not right. So I have a feeling it's going to come out and not do so well, which is shame.
I thought it was weird from the start. I mean, it was around that time that the VCS was announced to be a thing. That also Roller Coaster Tycoon was announced to become like a Kickstarter project for Nintendo Switch, and I was like, we're talking about a company like Atari going for fundraising games for Nintendo Switch.
That was even weirder because Roller Coaster Tycoon had a weird thing where you could invest in the game. It wasn't just buying the game. You could put up like several $100s and invest in it. And I've never seen that before.
So what actually did you get out of that investment?
Oh, I didn't do it.
No, like people could invest, you're saying, but so what was the return?
I don't know what the return was. I guess they explained it on the Kickstarter, but I remember seeing that on some news channels. I was like, why does Atari want me to invest in their game? I mean, can you imagine if Nintendo came out and said, If you want to invest in the next Mario Kart, there you go.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I don't know,
Yeah.
dude. I might do that.
Well, Mario Kart, yeah.
Mario Kart. That's
maybe
important.
if
Mario
maybe
Kart 9
if
will
they
be
actually drop a card at your home, it might be interesting.
Do I actually get a Mario Kart of my choice when I invest, or does Mario come to my house and drive me places?
Yeah, that'd be a nice one.
Yeah.
That would be good. An actual street legal Mario Kart.
Oh yeah. Somebody's built something.
You know what? It was sort of what I saw. This was like 10 years ago, maybe 15 years ago. David, do you know the cartoon Speed Racer?
Speed Racer. Don't think I do.
He drove a Mach 5.
And he had a mysterious brother named Racer X. And there was Chim Chim and Spritle in the trunk.
Sounds like 90s, early 90s.
Oh, no.
It was the 60s. It came out in the 60s in Japan and the 70s in the US.
Yeah.
Here we go.
There actually was a Speed Racer video game made back in the day when we were going to CES.
There was. And there was one also for the Wii and the DS.
Wow.
I heard those two versions were actually pretty good. I bring this up only because several years ago, I ran across on the internet, there was a website where these people were making Mach 5s, like street legal Mach 5s. So you could buy the Speed Racer car and actually drive it around.
Wow.
It was, I think it was $85,000.
Oh.
To get them to make this thing. I was like, that'd be pretty awesome
to drive the Mach 5.
Just drive it around, drive to McDonald's and go through the drive-thru in your Mach 5.
As long as Trixie's with me, I'm cool with that. No Trixie, no dice. You throw Spritle in there? Maybe Chim Chim. Not.
This was, I don't know. In the U.S., it was really popular in the 70s. I remember.
Yeah, on what, Channel 11? Did they show it here?
Yeah, I'd come home from school. I'd watch Speed Racer. I'd watch Johnny Sacco, and I'd watch Ultraman.
Ultraman.
And it never even occurred to me until years and years later. And I was thinking, how weird is that? Back in the 70s, I was watching just nothing but like Japanese TV shows without cable.
Right. Right.
But it was great. I really like Speed Racer.
Yeah, we had to watch those like through Channel 9 out of Chicago. KDNL. They did that. Or was that here? Was KDNL here or was that Chicago?
KDNL was Channel 30 here.
Was 30 here? Okay. All right. So yeah, it would have been W something if it was out of Chicago.
Yeah. I guess you have a pretty nice Switch gaming collection at this point.
Me?
Yeah.
I wouldn't call it fair to say that. Again, 95% of the games I have on the system I actually all receive for reviews. So when it comes to physical releases, I only pick up first-party titles in general. That too, as I said, not too many lately because it's just like a constant stream of reviews and just getting them out, playing through it. So I wouldn't really call it justified to say I have a nice collection, but the system is overflowed with games, obviously.
Yeah, true. Because you get a code that downloads to your system to review. That's what you get.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's what 99% of the time that actually happens like that. That they rarely send out physical games. All the right reasons, I mean, but I've definitely received some amazing games. One of the few games that I actually managed to play for myself is Atelier Ryza from Koei Tecmo, I believe it is. It's an amazing game, really.
Wait, is that the game you told me about the other day?
No, that is that RPG is called Wizard's Symphony.
Oh,
yeah,
Wizard's Symphony.
I'm in love with that game. It's unfortunately a Japan-only RPG, so it's pretty damn heavy on text. But I just went in blind,
And it's
Obviously,
large on breasts.
sorry.
It's large on breasts.
that to me, it's an amazing game. You definitely need to check that out if you're into RPGs. But yeah,
That's the one that was first person,
it's
but like a
yeah. There's dungeon crawling first person, right? And then this turn-based battle system, but quite extensively done. Yeah, it's just amazing, really.
Yeah, I don't play any first person like shooter games because they make me sick. I get nauseous with the movement. But first person RPGs, I don't know why, but I love them. The dungeon crawlers where the screen kind of,
right,
like that. I don't know why I like that, but I do. There's something just so cool about. I guess because it just seems so old. I guess.
Well, it's classic, like Doom.
Yeah.
That's the thing. When I started this game, I was like, what's with the graphics? This dungeon exploration. It just feels very dated somehow. But then I so fell in love with the battle mechanics in there, and the way you were upgrading your characters and trading and I mean, you should check the review to get full details on that. But then the dungeon exploration became more or less a logical thing. Like it's a said and done thing. Like again, from the Famicom days, it's been there, and there's really no need to change that up. I mean, it works.
Well, I enjoyed the review. I when I come to those games, I get lost. I'm just like, hey, I don't know about that, but I can still watch. I enjoyed your review because you keep it moving, so I'm not losing interest. I'm not getting bogged down with anything, but I'm like, well, it sure does look cool. I mean, I get it. So it was, I enjoyed it. It looked great. The graphics were amazing, and then you can team up and do you can do attacks with the team and everything.
Yeah, I always like that. This is one of the first ones I remember playing on the DS. Deep Labyrinth. It's a first-person RPG, and it's pretty much a dungeon crawler, I guess, once you go underground. But it's one of those too where it's very stiff, and if I remember right, this was based off an old phone
Atlas.
Game. Yeah, I think this was based off an old mobile game in Japan, and it's not like the greatest game, but I don't know. Those styles of games just always hook me for some reason.
Right. But I think that's the thing with any kind of RPG. I mean, you sink in hours, and they just eat up all of your time.
Yeah, that's what I just can't do that. Breath of the Wild, my son's still not happy with the fact that I haven't cracked that yet. I've got it. I bought it, but I haven't cracked it yet because
but then Stu, in all seriousness, you're not that cheap. That's an expensive game.
Well, I bought it on sale.
Yeah, it was on sale. Actually, I rarely see that one go on sale.
Either that, or I tell you what, probably wasn't on sale. I probably had a gift card.
Okay, fair enough. But you did manage to spend it on such an expensive game.
I thought you were going to say stolen.
You're right. It is expensive, which is why I walked out with it. And then once the alarm went off, I ran. So, yeah.
Weird to think that game was on the Wii U.
Yeah,
it's just so odd.
To be fair, I wish I had the Wii U back when it released, but that was just around the time it released a month after I moved out of the Netherlands. So I just kind of missed out on it. But then, yeah,
it's an odd system. It's not. I mean, Nintendo didn't put a ton of their top franchises on there,
right?
But there's some experiences like Nintendo Land. There's no other games like that anywhere to play because you've got your gamepad, and Nintendo Land was like a bunch of mini games. I don't know if either one of you saw it, but you'd play these mini games, and one person would kind of be in control where they'd have the screen, and everyone else would be watching the TV. So, for instance, there was like a Mario game where I think one person was Mario. You had the screen, and you would run. It was like a hide and seek. You'd stay away from people, and then people would be on the screen, and it would be like in 4 different windows. And so everyone's trying to find the Mario, and they're chasing you around, and you've got your gamepad. And I think Nintendo's calling it asymmetric gaming, where not everybody's doing the same thing. Because when you had 4 people doing the same thing, and one person playing, keep away, basically.
Right.
Wow.
Right.
And they did that with a lot of the games on that particular cartridge or a disc, Nintendo Land. There was an Animal Crossing game where it was the same thing. You'd have one person that was in control of something, and others were going out doing their own thing. And you'd be either working together or working against each other. Yeah, it's an interesting system. There's not a lot of games for it. It was cool in that you could literally have your TV on, watching something else, and you have your game pad in front of you playing the game, kind of like an early version of the Switch. Not nearly as nice, but the Switch obviously stems from the Wii U. I mean, you can see where it came from.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just at my parents today because they bought a Wii U for the grandkids, and they've all kind of come over as much, and they're older. And she goes, "You want to just take this from me because it's taking up plugs in their outlet and on the TV." I said, "I'd love to get it because I want that extra gamepad, because if mine ever craps out, then I've got another one." Because the gamepad itself is the thing; it's so expensive. It's not like you could ever buy those in a store. You'd have to get them from Nintendo. So I was like, cool. Now I've got a backup screen if that ever goes out. So I still have my original hooked up.
The thing is, when I picked up the Nintendo Switch, we were living in Shenzhen at the time. That's the southern part of most southern city there in China, bordering Hong Kong. So thing is, it launched just around the time that a restriction on some outright ban on video games lifted there in China. So it was like non-existent anywhere in China. So we hopped over to Hong Kong, and I remember we were searching for the system like everywhere. All the major electronic stores, none had them. Toy stores didn't have them. And then we ventured into one like old, well, you can't really call it a shopping mall. It's just like a building with a couple of floors with really small stores without a proper like frontage and all that stuff. And there was just one store that actually had 2 Switch units. So we bought it, and we went home as fast as we could. And the interesting thing is that the Wii U, which was, well, pretty much, if I may say so, a failure at that time, it was still standing there in stores, being more expensive than the Nintendo Switch. I just didn't understand that price point there.
Well, here the Wii U never had a price cut. It came out at $300, and when the Switch came out and they were getting rid of the Wii U's, it was still at $300.
Wow.
Nintendo refused to budge because I think it was kind of expensive for them to make, and they just weren't going to take a loss in the hardware, so they never dropped the price. I think that's probably the only system they've ever had, or they never dropped the price.
Jeez.
I mean, I'm sure there's probably some stores that were selling it cheap to get rid of them, but Nintendo themselves never gave a price cut to the Wii U, which was interesting.
So the Wii U actually came as 2 units. Is that right? It's 2 pieces.
Hold on, I got it right. Let me play real quick.
Yeah, because that's one of the Nintendo systems I've never gotten into.
But you managed to try it somehow?
Yeah, I probably could, but God knows I don't need to. But I mean, I don't know if there's some astronomical game on it that I just had to check out, or so it's kind of the same way where it's got touch screen and everything like that.
All right, so this is the actual unit, the Wii U, and you could stand it up like that or lay it flat.
Yeah, like PlayStation.
Yeah, and then the gamepad is this. So you can see it's almost the same size here.
Right.
Yeah, and
that actual the console pod, that's just about the size of the Nintendo Wii, or it looks slightly bigger.
Yeah, it's a little bigger than the Wii.
I got a Wii sitting right there, and this is it's definitely thicker, and it's quite a bit longer
than that. Yeah.
So it's bigger in every direction, really.
It looks like about the size of the original PlayStation 3 or 2. 3.
Oh, this is a lot smaller than 3.
Is it?
Yeah. PlayStation 3 was pretty big.
Yeah.
Oh, the original one had that like bulging top.
I got one down below here.
But yeah, I mean the controller was at the time it was pretty cool. I know it always looked like it would be uncomfortable and really heavy, but I mean it's really light. And it's actually
cool.
The only problem is when you play this now after playing a Switch, it feels ridiculous.
Right.
It's way thicker. It's just, I don't know, it's way thicker. It feels more like a toy. And it was pretty cool before the Switch, but now the Switch just kind of kills it.
Like, this one comes with a camera built in, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just about the only thing that I never really understood why they didn't put in the Switch. Probably because of cost, but that would have been interesting.
Cost, because I think the Switch was pretty expensive as is.
Mm.
That was cool because also I don't remember any games really taking advantage of it, but there was an application. It was like a street map thing where you could, it was kind of like, go visit, this city, and you could walk down the street, and you could really hold it up like this, and you see the image, and as you would turn like this, it was like you were turning in real life, where you would see the city, you just see it all the way like 360.
Yeah, like a Google map.
Yeah. I was like, wow, what a great idea. I don't remember any games really doing that though. I mean, I think some games would shift a little bit, but I guess the problem is you'd actually have to be standing up,
Yeah.
I know Pokemon Snap just got announced for the Switch, and I think this would have been perfect for Pokemon Snap because, you got everything built in right here. I don't know.
Still got Pokemon Snap for 64. Do you have that one, Dave?
Me? No, the unfortunate thing is that I happened to sell off my Nintendo 64 with like a pretty extensive library because I wanted to buy the GameCube at the time.
Gotcha.
But yeah, definitely I was into Pokemon Snap, so I'm interested to see what's coming to Switch now.
Yeah, that'll be pretty cool. Do you own any of have you purchased or played a lot of the classic arcade games that they've got for like $8 on the Switch?
There's arcade archive games?
Yeah.
No, because a lot of them I find they're just about the same in a lot of ways as the Famicom games, and I'd rather invest my money in that and build up that collection. That said, I especially the early stages of the channel, I happen to review a lot of arcade games from Data East.
Yeah.
I absolutely love those.
RoboCop, one of my favorites.
RoboCop didn't make it to Switch though. No,
but I'm just saying the Data East games that were at the arcade.
Those are the Johnny Turbo games, aren't they?
Yeah, no, they are. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I haven't seen any releases from them in quite a while now. They were releasing games at least one a month or so. They were really on a nice schedule. I think they have like 13 or so games out there on the Switch, maybe more.
I haven't seen them in a long time.
Yeah, I have no idea what happened. If there's something wrong with licensing, or
I don't know. Maybe they weren't selling well. I don't know. I know I've seen them on sale recently, like really cheap.
Yeah.
I grabbed all the ones I wanted to get once they dropped in price quite a bit, at least briefly.
So I really don't get it, because the arcade games, I don't think they're as high quality. Not all of them. Some of them definitely don't have the same quality as some of those Data East games. In terms of price point, it's just about the same. So,
Yeah, I think they're.
Yeah, because I'm eager to get into some of those because I played a lot of the. Again, I did go to the arcades back in the 80s and 80s into the 90s.
I remember you were saying I remember hearing you say in the first or second show that you guys had reviewed Caveman game.
Caveman games, yes. Yes.
It's that Joe and Mac, isn't it?
No, well, there's Joe and Mac, but I think this one was just. I'll have to look at it.
Was it called Caveman Games?
I think it was called Caveman Games.
Yeah.
Because I remember you were saying that you guys didn't really rate it all that high.
Well, I think that Jeff was mentioning that the other one you just mentioned, which was for TurboGrafx, right?
This one, the one that's highlighted.
Is it
Caveman Ninja there?
Oh yeah, okay.
I really like that. I really like that game.
Is it one of the Data East games?
It's one of those Data East games. Yeah.
Okay.
Slice Pie, I remember, is a pretty good title by them, also on Switch.
I think they also have. Aren't they the ones that have Joe and Mac?
Yeah.
On the Switch. So I know I have it on the Switch. Joe and Mac 2, I believe.
They have Joe and Mac and Joe and Mac Returns.
Yeah.
They're both only $2 each right now.
Is that Johnny Turbo?
Yeah.
Data East. Yeah.
That's the same game though.
Yeah. Johnny Turbo.
Yeah, Joe and Mac. Yeah, it went by a different name too.
Yeah. And Slice Pie is one of the better releases. Nitro Ball, Super Burger Time.
I really liked. I thought Nitro Ball was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is. So but it's again one of those games I didn't happen to play in arcades, but on Switch I played plenty.
I never
Nitro Ball.
They're
all on sale.
Yeah, they generally go.
But they've got some good games for $2.
Yeah.
So Dave, what are you playing right now on your Switch? What's keeping you?
A game called Ultra Core that went by the name Hardcore, but for some reasons they're not allowed to go by that name, so name changed to Ultra Core. But I have to say I'm kind of frustrated by that because it has an extremely interesting history. That's why I happen to agree in doing that review. As you guys are Sega guys, right?
Yep.
But it was a game that originally was developed during the Sega Genesis days, ready to release, and then the publisher held back because they were in a transition phase of consoles and they thought it wouldn't be able to sell. So it got shelved forever, and then the studio picked up and they released it. I believe last week, just a few days ago. I believe it was released on Nintendo Switch. So they pretty much kept to the same game, same graphics, same style, same edge to Sega games, but they threw in the twin stick motion. So one stick you use for moving around or your D-pad, and the other stick you use for shooting. So you have 360 kind of, well, not really, but you can shoot freely without having to aimlessly go about it. So that's pretty cool, but there's definitely some flaws within the platforming. So
it's a 2D game, right?
Definitely it's a 2D game. So in general, it's a fun game, if not for those platforming flaws, but I hope to have my review out, say, next week, somewhere late next week.
Awesome. Stuart, you been playing anything new lately?
No, actually, I'm getting ready though to to hook up my NES because I want to get into. Well, no, I'm lying. I just bought the Missile Command.
Oh yeah, Missile Command.
And what the heck else did I play? Oh, I picked up Ghoul Boy.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's a 2D platformer, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah. That was fun. I was playing some of that.
Elliot Quest is on sale for like 9 cents. It's
No.
a platformer.
Nice.
I think it's
Elliot
I
Quest.
think it's supposed to be decent. Anyway, have you heard of that, Dave? Elliot Quest.
Elliot Quest? No. Elliot Boy, I believe. 9 cents, you saying?
I think this is one of the few games that's actually supposed to be fairly decent, though.
Well, it says it's $10 right now.
Oh, that must have just ended. That's the normal price. You're welcome to pay $10 for it if you'd like.
Or wait till the 9 cents appears again.
Yeah, I was playing.
That's me.
I've been playing Super Mega Baseball 3. Stuart, I sent you a thing saying that they have a free version that's online only where you can play people. It's really weird. It's like not a demo. It's just they're letting you play the online portion for free. So it's kind of cool to at least test it out, see if you like it.
So did you play against a bunch of people already?
I haven't played online at all. I've been doing. I made my own team on the. This is the third version. On the second version, I created a Cardinals team.
Yeah, yeah.
That's our baseball team here, Dave. Is the St. Louis Cardinals. So I recreated the uniforms, and they have this great system where you can design your own stuff. It's crazy. I got pretty close, and but I've been playing that, and that's probably the best baseball game I've played in a long time. It's really good. Now, Dave, have you ever played a baseball game? I know it's probably not too popular in Europe.
Yeah, it's not really my I can enjoy a baseball game, but it's not like a genre I really dig into. But yeah, I've played a few.
Yeah, this Mega Baseball 3 is really, really good. And you know what? I pulled this out. I think last week we were talking. This was the Japanese baseball game I was talking about. Power Pro Baseball.
Right.
It's a Konami game. It's really good. Some of it's kind of hard to get through because of the language.
No. Interesting.
But that's an awesome game. Do you prefer? You said you played some baseball games. Are they more of the arcade style or more of a simulation? More realistic?
Yeah, more the arcades, but generally more towards the 8-16-bit era.
You know what's a fun baseball game on a Switch is what's it called? It's old SNK. Oh, Baseball Stars 2.
Oh,
from which platform that is?
What's that?
From which platform that like?
It's on the Switch right now. It was an arcade game by SNK, and it's a very arcadey baseball game. It's goofy. The graphics are old school, pixel, but it's a really good baseball game. It's a fun game to play.
And
they're both $8.
How much is it?
$8 for they have Neo Geo the Baseball Stars 2, and they have Baseball Stars Professional.
I like Baseball Stars 2. It's a completely different looking game.
Interesting.
But yeah, it's an arcade style baseball game. It's just a ton of fun.
And then there's 2020 Super Baseball.
Yeah. Have you played many of the SNK games, Dave?
SNK, not that much. I mean, on the Wii, yes, but not so much on the Switch.
Because on the Switch, they got what is it called? Neo Geo? I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah, ACA Neo Geo. They have bowling, they have Spin Master, Football Frenzy, and Burning Fight.
It's like Turbo, Johnny Turbo and Arcade Archives. It's just a whole nother series, but it's just SNK games, old arcade games.
Somehow the SNK games on Switch, they didn't really, I didn't really gravitate towards them. But I believe there's a collection of them coming up. The Samurai Showdown is SNK, right?
Yep. That one has a game that's never released. Samurai Showdown 5 Perfect.
Right. Right. So I'm hoping to receive a review copy for that one because that would be pretty interesting going through.
SNK does have another collection of the really old arcade games, like from the 80s. And then that Samurai Showdown collection's coming out. It was weird. The Samurai Showdown 5 Perfect, they said it was I was looking at the history of it. Apparently it showed up in an arcade briefly. Sounds like maybe for a day or two, maybe not even that long. And it was during the time SNK was being sold. The new owners didn't want it out, so they pulled it immediately. And I guess it kind of became a legendary thing where people claim they played it.
Right. I was there.
I've never heard of it. But apparently it was done. They just never released it. It's kind of like when Nintendo made Star Fox 2. They had it ready to go, and they just said, we're not going to send it out.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's like you already did.
They released it as something, though, didn't they, finally?
Yeah, they put it on the Mini.
Yeah, they put it on the Mini.
And it's also on the Super Nintendo online app on the Switch.
Oh, wow.
If you want to play it there.
I just want to know who's going to put out Rolling Thunder for the Switch. That's all I want to know. I just want to play Rolling Thunder. What's a game, Dave, that you just maybe you played a long time ago, or you don't see it available, or? I mean, that's kind of tough because you said you didn't play a lot. You didn't go to the arcades a lot, but
yeah.
I mean,
I don't know. I'd say let them remake that Chip and Dale game, but then like complete it in 3D, perhaps. Like give it a new spin.
Right.
I'd like this game.
Like Tailspin. See what I did?
Yeah. Exactly. That would be nice.
I had that game too. Tailspin. There was Darkwing Duck. There was a Darkwing Duck game.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And
most of those I actually only played as ROMs later, but that had a lot of good games back then.
Capcom put out the what was it, the afternoon series? I can't remember what it was called, but they put it out on Xbox and PS4, and there was a bunch of those old games, NES games.
Wow.
But they didn't put it on the Switch. It's like, why would you not put it on the one platform that you guaranteed sell a lot? I don't see a lot of Xbox One.
Maybe
oh boy, I can't wait to play Chip and Dale. It seems like an odd choice for them. Because Nintendo people would eat that up.
Yeah.
True. And I'd love to see Ys, like the entire collection of Ys games on Nintendo Switch. Like, Stu, you're a music guy, and I'm going through this Ys 1 right on the Famicom, and I'm blown away by the music quality in that game.
Really?
Even though it's a comp-based game that doesn't have like an amplified chip or anything, but the music is amazing. You should check that out.
And how do you spell the name of the game?
YS.
Ah, gotcha.
No, actually, that's not the full name of the game, but that's how the series is known.
So,
I believe that
TurboGrafx released it. The first two games, I think it was Ys Book 1 and 2.
Right.
So they took the first two games and smashed them together. And I think that was a CD game because I remember people commenting about how amazing the music was in that TurboGrafx game. So it's probably the same soundtrack you're listening to, but maybe just.
Well, the thing about Ys 1 and 2, specifically 1, is although I just recently picked it up, right? I started playing, but I've been like reading forever about this series. Is that Ys 1 has been released on so many different platforms, and for just about every platform, they change this or they change that, and they change the layout of the towns or stuff like that. On the Famicom, not only did they add stuff to it, but they also added music tracks. So it has a little bit different audio from the PC Engine, but like 80-90% is quite the same. But it's really high standard.
Yeah, because I'm seeing the soundtracks. They have Ys 1 and 2 on YouTube. You can listen to the soundtrack.
Stuart, did you ever have that for
Right.
your CD system?
For what?
TurboGrafx CD?
Oh yeah, they sent it to me. That was back in the day, Dave. I think I probably mentioned it, where there was a newspaper. That's where Jeff and I met. Was working for the North County Journal here in St. Louis. It was part of the suburban journals, and we were graphic designers there. And then they started a paper to go up against the St. Louis Post here to compete against it, and they called it the St. Louis Sun. And every Saturday they'd put out their comics section, just like the St. Louis, the Post Dispatch would do it on Sunday. They'd have a whole funnies section where they had all the cartoons, and then they did theirs on Saturday. And within it, I'd write a video game review.
Cool.
So
yeah, really cool.
Today I reviewed Batman for the NES and the TurboGrafx system and the CD system, and they sent me all of that.
Like even the system they actually ship.
Yes, and in fact, Jeff ended up with a TurboGrafx system because
if I remember right, they didn't send out for free, but they like discounted it.
Yeah,
which was odd because usually the hardware is pretty much what they pay anyway. Like, so they discounted. I can't remember what it was, like maybe from 200 to 150 or something. I can't remember. But,
yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, it was just weird. Yeah, because they sent it to me. Because at the time, maybe I had a Genesis at the time.
Yeah.
Because after Atari went under, I played a little on Commodore 64, but I didn't play games until. I probably didn't play video games again until I met you, which was what, 88, 89?
Probably 89.
89. And then you get a Genesis and like an NES and a TurboGrafx. I was like, man, what is this stuff? This is awesome.
So yeah, it was like Christmas whenever somebody would send me. I'm like, hey, I need to check this out or what's coming out. And Data East was awesome. They'd send me, multiple things. They sent me Bad Dudes. I remember that. I remember getting Bayou Billy from Konami.
Yeah, and I used to love that game growing up. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of those games. That's a game I never finished that I would love to get into again. My other favorite one, and do you remember this one? It was based on the comic strip. We've talked about it before on the show, the Little Nemo game in Dreamland. Little Nemo in Dreamland.
No, I'm not familiar with that one.
Well, that's a great game for the family. It's a great family game because you run through and you get to work with certain creatures. Like you run up on a frog and you feed it a piece of candy, and then it lets you ride on its back and everything.
Kind of a Yoshi that you have to feed and you can hop on.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. Yeah.
Hey Dave, here's the Famicom version.
Yeah.
Right.
I guess it's called Pajama Hero. How about that?
Pajama Hero. That's what they call me.
Let's not go with that story.
Oh my God, he saved my life, and he was in his pajamas.
I think that's one of the best NES games. I really like this game.
So Stu, you guys were both graphic designers, and you were doing these reviews. So what are you guys doing now? You like still doing anything with games like in a professional way?
This is kind of how we're getting back into it. We've kind of been out of contact for a little while, but just on and off, just because of life.
Yeah, we went from like when we were working together. We'd go over, like I'd go to Stuart's house a lot on the weekends. We'd play TurboGrafx and Genesis. There were certain games we just played all the time, and then
Nintendo 64 we played a lot.
Oh yeah, and then I got married, and we all had kids, and we keep in touch here and there. And now we're back doing this, which kind of feels a lot like back in 1989 again, where we're just sitting around talking about games.
Yeah, no time has passed. That's the beauty of it. I was gonna tell him that the other day. I mean, it's like no No, we're still goofy about everything. We're still silly about everything. I sent him a package with Ren and a Ren and Stimpy in it.
If you look, where's my? It's right there.
Are they up there?
They're right there.
Yeah.
Ren and Stimpy.
Did you ever watch Ren and Stimpy in the 90s?
Well, me, no, but I've seen it like possible on the internet.
Right. The first season, the only good season. Next season, horrid. So
that's what a film.
That's the beauty of having the figures, because it could be from whatever season you want.
Right.
Yeah, I'm kind of still in graphic design. I'm not a graphic designer per se, but I'm a production designer where what I do is once something's designed, I go in there and I'll do technical stuff to get it ready to print, to send out. So at some point, I kind of switched over to the technical side because I kind of like that a little bit more, to be honest. It's kind of fun.
For magazines?
Well, actually, I did work for a magazine publisher a long time ago.
Yeah.
We did 3 different trade magazines. What's that?
With my wife.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, one was a life insurance trade magazine. And you haven't lived until you've read a life insurance magazine.
There's no centerfolds. That's for sure.
So
sure. Did Chris ever tell you the story about Dave? Do you know Dave Letterman?
Yeah.
Okay. Did Chris ever tell you the story about Dave Letterman?
No, I don't.
Okay, so one of the people we worked at the publisher, she was, I think Dave Letterman was her uncle or cousin.
Oh, really?
But she knew him. It wasn't like a long lost relative. She actually knew him. And she was talking to him once about what she did for a living. She was talking about she worked for this trade magazine for life insurance. And he just thought that was hilarious that there was a magazine about life insurance. And he said, let them know if you want me to be on the cover, I'd be glad to get a shot done and you could put me on the cover. Thinking it'd be kind of hilarious that comedians on there. And the owner said, no.
No!
He just turned him down. I'm like, oh my God. And this was back when Dave Letterman was like at his height. I mean, this was at his, the peak of his popularity.
But I guess he was charging for that shoot.
What?
He must have been charging quite much for the.
No, he was doing it for free.
Yeah.
He just said he'd do it. He didn't want anything for it. And they just turned him down. I'm like, oh my gosh. That sums up the life insurance business right there.
Small business move, yeah.
It's not a fun crowd.
No, they don't even know what they've got. No. Wow. It's David Letterman. No. Just whatever. How do you run this magazine? What? Yeah, I worked in publication a little bit with graphics, but then otherwise most of mine is just that was through advertising. That's what Jeff and I did originally together. And but then now I mainly just do logos, banners, things on the side for my bands, and things like that. So
didn't you, me, and my wife at one point, were we all at the journals at the same time?
Yep. Yeah, that's when you were just buddies.
I worked with Stuart at Mid-USA.
You worked at Mid-USA? You worked with Cecilia at some other place?
Well, yeah, we worked together down at the motorcycle joint.
Why don't I remember
that? Because you had to forget it. At one point, you were working with my wife and I was working with yours.
That's right. Wow.
We just did a wife swap at work.
wife swap.
Yeah, that was quite wild, Dave. It's so strange how that's worked out over the years. And I just remember Celia telling me that you were going for the same job I was at Save-A-Lot. So we were both interviewing for the same job, Dave, and that's when I said, "Forget it, he'll get it. He's a better artist than me. He'll get it, no problem."
Neither one of us got it.
I did.
Both of you got it.
Oh, did you get it? Oh, very good.
I got it.
Excellent.
Excellent. Which led you to a better job.
Yes.
So
that's a long time ago.
Yeah. So no, that's I'm looking forward to just playing some of the classic games. That's kind of I'm in it for that to a certain degree. And I know Jeff just got the Evercade, which has a bunch of classic games for it. Have you checked that out at all?
Jeff, how do you do that? That like, everything is within reach there. I mean,
I know he's amazing.
I have to walk halfway across my room in order to get something, but like you have everything just laid out ready.
Well, what I do is I'll grab some stuff that I think might pop up in the show, and so
it's called preparation, Dave. I don't.
Thanks.
So this is
I
cool.
obviously don't do it either. So
it's a new handheld, and it's cartridge based, and each cartridge has anywhere from 2 to 20 games on it, and they're all licensed. Like this one here is the Namco Museum Collection 2. So it's got Splatterhouse 2 and 3 on it. It's got Dig Dug 2 and a bunch of other games. And what's really cool is it's got an HDMI mini.
yeah,
So you can actually run this to your TV, play it on the TV.
sweet.
And
Didn't you show this one in the last show? I believe I've seen.
I think I did.
We did that in our second show. We talked about it a lot. That and the Amico we talked about a lot.
Right.
Oh yeah, because the second show is all about consoles coming out this year.
The second show was supposed to be a short show, and it was a regular show.
It was going to be a short one and ended up being a regular size.
Yeah, I remember you saying that. It's going to be a short show. Sure.
We believe in giving them what they want.
Right.
No slacking. Yeah. So
Well, I don't want to keep you too long, Dave. I don't know how much time you have.
it's 7 hours difference over there.
Yeah, I guess it's getting kind of late there.
It's almost 11, right?
Right.
yeah.
Dog need to be walked soon.
Yeah. Well, it's at least it's Sunday tomorrow. Well, you should come to my gig tomorrow, Dave. I got a gig here. Fly on over. If you go hurry up and get to the airport now, you might make it.
Yeah, that is if they even allow me to get out.
Oh yeah. Okay, never mind. You can just stay home. You can actually check it out. I'm gonna do a live Facebook Live.
Facebook Live. Oh, okay. Okay.
Hopefully
cool.
Jeff will be there. I've been talking to him about going to the gig. So it's
It'll be fun.
it's fun. It's right on the water. So check out. Yeah, I think I'll probably do it. Trying to decide where I'm gonna do it. I'll probably do it through my Hammer Away account. Probably on Facebook, my Hammer Away page. And
And
so
3 to 7, right, tomorrow?
check that out. Yeah, so it'll be the same time frame. it'll be now. So
I'll
you
check,
can you can at least check out a few things before you go to sleep.
Sure.
Zone out to it. I'll sing you a lullaby.
Okay. Cool. Thanks. Thank you, mate.
That's not creepy at all.
That's not Okay, wait a minute. All right, I have to say one thing before I go. My wife had me kick a guy off the island on Animal Crossing. So you've played enough of Animal Crossing to know about your residence on the island and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
So she made me get rid of Rodney. And who did we get? We got Sterling. Have you seen Sterling?
No.
He's a bird. He's like an eagle. And he comes in a cavalier top and a knight's helmet. What's the inside of his house look like? First of all, the guy bugs me. Secondly, what's his house look like? You walk inside, he's got jail cells. What the hell's with that? This guy's a freaking creep. She had me get rid of Rodney that I liked. And I got this freak, Sterling, that wants to lock people up in his house.
You better look at Isabel. She might be missing.
Does Sterling mean human trafficking in some other language? I just don't know.
But it's certainly a currency that it is.
Right, exactly. And I don't know. It bothered me. I said, I'm never going in that freaking house again. Probably not exactly the word I used, but the guy's a freak.
Gee. All the wallpapers like bars?
Yes. I'll take a picture. I'll show it to you.
Have you seen Isabel since the guy showed up?
I hate that. I did. I talked to her today. More like is a failure. That's what it is. It's not Isabel. It's is a failure.
I heard that. I saw that feud last show about it.
Oh, my son's feud with me on that.
Yeah.
She is worthless.
She was fine in the other one, but like she kind of ran stuff. Or this game, I'm not even sure why she's there.
That's my point. Somebody said, can't she even like tell us what the weather is? Because you have to see her in the morning before you step out your door. She comes on every morning. Couldn't she tell me it's raining so that when the door opens, I'm not like, shit, it's raining again. At least she'd go, and it seems to be raining. Oh, well, thanks for telling me. I'll run right back in and get an umbrella or something. I don't know. She's just worthless.
So, Dave, if you want to waste a couple 100 hours of your life, go ahead and pick up Animal Crossing.
No. No. If anything, that like 2 games I'm like really waiting for to pick up on Switch. One is quite obvious, Breath of the Wild 2, and the other one, Metroid Prime, the next one. So.
Oh, I know what I just got. I picked up Mr. Driller Drill Land.
Right.
That's a great name.
Mr. Drill. What do you do in that?
Well,
is there any drilling in that game?
It's an old GameCube game. It was a Japanese game only. And I imported it back like in 2002, 2003. And the game is fantastic. If you like Mr. Driller, this is the best Mr. Driller game by far.
Mr. Driller Drill Land. It's currently $30.
And so there was a Nintendo Direct a few months ago, and this popped up, and I was like, why are they re-releasing a Japanese-only GameCube game? But it's like, thank you, because I love this game. And so I picked it up, and it's fantastic. If you like Mr. Driller, this is the one game to get. I'll tell you that.
Wow.
It's a blast.
And then I see, just for our last moment on Darius, they have the Cosmic Collection arcade and the console. That's what you guys were talking about earlier, right?
Right.
Okay. $60 for the console, $45 for the arcade.
Right.
Okay. All right.
Whoops. What did I just do? All right, there we go.
Dave, it's been wonderful.
This has been great.
Yeah, really thanks for having me, man. It was awesome. Should do this again.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we'll definitely do it again. Absolutely. And then maybe one day we'll do it when I'm there, and there'll be 2 of us there instead of 2 of us here.
No, you do have to bring your TurboGrafx. I really need to try that out one day, though.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Cool.
Sure.
That'll be a great system for you to collect one day, especially the PC Engine side, because it's terrific.
Really.
And Dave, do you have so you just did the Darius collection? That was your last video, right?
Right.
And what's your next video coming up? Do you know yet?
Not quite sure. It might be this Ultra Core. And I also still have this review pending for Lonely Mountains Downhill.
Oh, the
BMX game. Yes.
That looks really good.
It's a phenomenal game. To be honest, I'm super excited about it. But then I got a couple other games in between, and it's sort of pending. Still, what's more, I do have a giveaway for that one coming up soon. So yes, I should get that.
Very
Yeah,
cool.
how do we get in on the giveaways? What do you do? Is there a thing down below that we check out?
Well, the thing is, YouTube has been changing rules during the last year or so you can't just like pop it up in your description. So I set up the giveaways on Gleam, so at least you know there's like kind of certainty that something will happen. I mean, too often you see these giveaways for whatever stuff on Twitter that's just not even possible to have or give away, right? So it's kind of fake. But Gleam is quite a nice platform for this stuff. So I make the Gleam giveaway, and then I just post it over on Twitter, Instagram, and in the comments section underneath the video. That's still allowed. So
Cool. Good.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Very good.
And just one last time for everyone to check out Dave's YouTube channel, nintendokid. obviously Nintendo centric. It's really good.
Yeah, well put together. It's a lot of fun, and he's a charming dude. Come on.
Thank you, man.
I'm sure your wife knows that, right? She says that all the time.
Yeah, all the time, every day.
I love you, you charming dude.
Charming dude. My wife says that to me all the time too.
She does not.
No, she doesn't.
I can't say what she says. It's not.
She's right here laughing at me right now.
Wait, I can't see that. No, really, I can't see that. I was there from the beginning. I love it. That's a grand thing.
Oh, that's right. You knew me before.
Yep.
Before I got married.
Yep, that's right. And when that whole thing was started. So, all right. Well, then, all the best with nintendokid. That's awesome. It is an awesome show. The production's great. You're going to love watching it. Dave's got great information out there and great production on those. I really enjoy it.
Yeah, they're fantastic.
Thanks, man. Really appreciate
Thanks
it.
a lot, Dave.
Thanks again.
Yeah.
All right.
Go game, go.
Yes. All right. Goodbye.
Go game, go.
Yes. Thank you. Bye.